Hey guys, I haven't been live for ages and I've just come out of the full moon ceremony and I know you know that I keep saying I'm so busy behind the scenes and I'm coming out, blah, blah, blah. And I am soon, but I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. So you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Now there's something that I really wanna share with you, and this has, I'm not happy with this stand right now. I'm changing it mid-talking. There's something that came through with a client yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. And I'm like blowing my own mind with this realization about Dr. Emoto's work. Now, I love and respect Dr. Emoto's work, but with all this like next level information, and can you guys feel the high frequency of the full moon? Can you feel the beings? And okay, there's a few questions I want to ask you guys. Number one, can you feel the potency of this partial lunar eclipse full moon? Have you had any experience with new spiritual guides turning up in your reality today on this full moon? Hey, Sarah, have you, because that's definitely happened for me, definitely happened in the full moon ceremony, but it also happened when I was out today at the hairdresser. And so we've got, so I'm curious, let me know guys, type it in, right? Can you feel the potency of that? Have you had any new spiritual guides turn up in your reality, in your field? Yeah. Hi, Annie. The next thing is, I want to share this. Okay. Share this. This is what I'm talking about with the Dr. Emoto stuff. Okay. Make sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Hang on. I'm just going to share this. There's so many things I want to talk about. I'm like, where do I go from here? I'm just going to stay on topic right now. Because there's so much that I want to share, because I haven't been live for ages and I'm almost ready to come live every day again because I've got so much to share with you guys. So please tell me if you guys know. The third thing is, do you guys know Dr. Emoto's work? Do you know who I'm talking about, right? Drop some diamonds in the comments if you know who I'm talking about with Dr. Emoto's crystals. So I'm just sharing this, if it will come up, because it's taking some time to load. And it's so important that I share this when I share this really big realization about Dr. Emoto's work. Now, I love Dr. Emoto's work. I completely love it. I swear by it. I've all the things about it, right? However, with what came up when I was talking to my client yesterday, totally blew the reality about it out of the water. And I was just like, wow, why haven't I freaking realized that before? Because that is like the most significant thing. I kind of look burnt, don't I? I think I had got a lot of sun yesterday. You don't know him. Okay, Dana Murder does. You don't know him. Okay, this is really important. I put this into context. Yeah, Tammy knows as well. She's put some diamonds in. I'm just sharing this. I need to just grab the book. It's right there, so let me grab it. I fully look burnt, don't I? I think I got too much sun yesterday. Never heard of him. Okay, this is really important that I share this, so let me just grab the book. It's right here. If you haven't heard of him, it's even more important that you do some research about it and follow his work, because it's awesome. He's not alive anymore on the planet. I think he passed away a few years ago. So let me turn this camera around so you guys can see what I'm talking about. If I remember how to do it, I'm live streamed for so long. And I can't wait to live stream more. There's so much I want to share with you guys. It's coming. Okay, let me bring this down. Okay, sweet. I think I turned around. Yes. Okay, cool. So let's start at the start then. Dr. Emoto has many books. This is just one of them. Many studies. The Hidden Messages in Water. This came out. This is so interesting too, guys, actually. Like, this is going to go deep. I'm just looking for when this was first published. I know I learnt this in school. Oh yeah, originally published in Japanese in 2001. Oof, how significant a year. Okay. So the Hidden Messages in Water. So Dr. Emoto is this man somewhere. I'm sure there's a photo of him in here. He's a Japanese man. was born in Japan and is a graduate of the Yokohama Municipal University. I didn't say that properly. So his photographs were first featured in his self-published book, Messages in Water 1 and 2, with over 400,000 copies sold worldwide. So Dr. Emoto is this man here, a beautiful Japanese man who is no longer on the planet. I love this stuff, right? Basically, thanks, Alison. So basically, I'm just going to recap his work really quickly, and then I'm going to blow it all out of the water, funnily enough, pun intended, I guess. About that, so significant. Okay, so basically, he's a scientist of some sort, and in a real brief version, he basically took studies of water. So he had 2 little samples of water, and there was plenty more, but you know, let's keep it basic to understand this. So he took little samples of water, and under one piece of water, he wrote on a piece of paper, "I love you." Put it under the thing in the water, put it in the freezer and froze it. On the other one, said, "I hate you" on a piece of paper, put it under there, put it in the freezer and froze it. Then they pulled these out, these frozen things of water, and they looked under a specific microscope that I don't know what sort of microscope it is, that's out of my jurisdiction. I don't know. I'm like trying to figure out, I don't know what sort of microscope it is, but was able to see the frozen crystals of water. Okay. Now, as an example, so I'm just going to see if I can find the "I love you" and "I hate you" one. Wow, it's similar. So this is what love and gratitude looks like underwater. Yeah, so you can see there it says at the top, we wrapped a piece of paper with words typed on it around a bottle of water. Sorry, I got it wrong. This is what it looks like for love and gratitude, right? Now, they also did it with there's all these different experiments. There's so many. This is thank you. So thank you looks like this, and thank you in different languages. Yeah. Chinese, English, German, French, Italian, and Korean. I'm not going to pronounce them because that is not my strong point. So they look amazing, right? And then they also did the negative ones. So you fool, you fool, you fool, you make me sick. Oh my goodness, hang on a sec. You fool, you make me sick. What a difference that is to thank you. Thank you, I love you. Yeah? You make me sick. I hate you. So full on, right? So when we're talking, okay, let me just put this into perspective for the people who've never heard of Dr. Emoto's work before. So you know, how they say that we are made up of 70 or 90% water. You know how they say that? That we are made up of 70% water or something like that. So when we are thinking these words, it's affecting the water molecules in our body. So that's even more reason to what? Think positive and say, I thank you and I'm really grateful for you, etc., etc., etc. Just seeing if there's an I love you one. I thought there was somewhere. Now, this is it's really, really powerful, okay? And this is why, with what I'm about to say right now, it's going to blow all this out of the water, but it takes it even deeper, okay? It does blow it out of the water. It's so funny I'm saying that. But it takes it deeper. It's not that his work is wrong, no way. Because in 2001, with over 400,000 copies sold at the time of that printing in 2001, it's changed, it's woken a lot of people up to the way that they talk to themselves, to the way that they talk to other people, because we're made up of 70% water. So you want to be saying, I love you, thank you very much, not I hate you, look how fat and ugly you are. Can you imagine what the water molecules, no wonder we feel like shit, right? You want to talk about raising your vibration and manifesting your dreams into reality. Well, telling yourself how bad you look is not going to help. Do you get it? Right? Said with love, really strong. Okay, so important, so important. If you haven't researched his work, do more. His name is Dr. Emoto. If you just type in Dr. Emoto, even water molecule, water crystals, it will all come up. So, and he says, love this information. Wow, so true. Yeah, this is so important, guys. So Danielle says, I wonder if a life of negative, hateful thoughts manifests illness. 100%. 100%. Okay, here's the other one. Okay, hang on a sec. This is really important. I should have got this organized earlier, but I didn't. But I think I've got it here somewhere. Oh, maybe I don't. Oh, I have no idea where I put it actually. Oh, I do have it here. Check it out. See, I love having a little library / homeschool thing set up because look, all the homeschool stuff all still sitting here. So in amongst the homeschool stuff, we've got this. Okay, so the other thing, right? Because when you say, okay, I wonder if a life of negative and hateful thoughts manifests as illness. Oh, can I say fuck yes, it does? Right? So important. This shows you exactly why. Okay, so there was all these studies done. There's so many, right? One of them was that he had 2 jars of rice or 2 pots of rice or whatever. And in a schoolroom with 30 children, there's the 2 things of rice and water. And every day for 30 days, every child that came in that classroom, right, there's 30 kids or whatever, said, I love you in the first jar of the rice and water and I hate you in the next one. For 30 days, 30 kids did that. Or something like that is the experiment. This is what it turned out to be like. I love you. Whoops, I love you. Beautiful, fermented, bubbling rice. And I hate you. Blech. Doesn't that make you feel sick? It makes me feel sick. I love you. Beautiful, fermenting. I hate you. So you want to think about your body and manifesting as illness? Hell yeah. That's where Louise Hay's work comes in, right? Now, for those of you who've never heard of Dr. Emoto, this is why it's so important. It's so amazing. I've just got these like things here, right? All right, this is really important. It's so good. I've got these charts here. See, this is love and gratitude. And this is you make me sick. Check it out. Check it out, right? So important. Just seeing what other ones I got there. I think that's all of them. Oh look, here it is. Here's a better photo of him. Check it out. Dr. Emoto. Yeah? Okay. So important to speak kindly to yourself and to others. And you know how you walk into a room and the place feels like shit and you're like, whoa, or a shopping center and get this right. So when you're ordering food at a takeout, when we're allowed to go out, when we're buying food anywhere, check how the kitchen is. Are they angry? Are they happy? Even when you're buying any product. If I walk into a shop and the person doesn't acknowledge me, I walk out. Why? Because number 1, they didn't acknowledge me. Number 2, they're probably in a bad mood and I don't want to buy stuff in this energy. Right? That if I walk into a shop and they're laughing and they're having fun and they're kind and they're friendly, oops, I definitely want to eat it. Sorry, I'm doing it backwards. I definitely want to eat it. If I walk into a place and they're like, and I can feel it, it's like this is why, okay? Because not only is it water, like when you think about the water, and I said the 70% water, like yeah, white light yourself, but just don't purchase there either because you're bringing that home, right? So, all right. So that's really important to share this, okay? Because I want to share the big realization, okay? So I went through all this, Dr. Emoto's work, because there's some people on this live stream who never heard about him, and it's kind of awesome that I shared that because, you know, it kind of gives a big backstory, right? So, love and gratitude. You make me sick. Love and gratitude. Okay, now I'm moving on to the realization. So the other bit of the study, right, really important, is that they also did it with music. Okay, they also did it with music. And they did it with Mozart. So, and there was all other music. This is Mozart, for example, right? And then there was heavy metal music. Rah! You know that heavy metal music? Well, I think that's what heavy metal music is. What a difference, right? It's a bit like the You Make Me Sick one, okay? Mozart. High vibrational maybe? Heavy metal music. Rah! Now, what I'm about to say is going to challenge some belief systems. So I ask you to move forward with an open mind, because if you want to, I don't know, manifest your reality or take your power back or shift to the next level or whatever, I don't know, have a growth in consciousness, I don't know. Have an open mind right now. So, little backstory, talking with my client, is that there was all this kind of judgment that she'd locked herself away about because she actually likes heavy metal music. Now, I personally don't like heavy metal music. It just doesn't do it for me, right? However, I love trance, I love drum and bass, I love all this other sort of different style of music. I don't listen to commercial music, very rarely. I just don't. I'd rather have my trance or drum and bass on. That's what resonates with my soul. And so again, little backstory is like, you know, when I used to teach yoga, like teach the yoga instructors, there'd be all this like preparation for a yoga class, right? And, you know, like all these things you do to get yourself in the state and in flow and sharing your gift or whatever it is, right? For, you know, a session or whatever. And, you know, and it's like, you know, do your own practice before you teach or whatever, right? There's all these things. And what I added in, and I said, you know, because it's like, listen to music that's high vibrational, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I don't, like, of course I listen to yoga music and stuff like that. Like, I love that stuff too. But if I just in general in my day-to-day life, like I'm listening to trance or drum and bass, like that brings my soul alive. Like 99% of Tuesday Tarots or any other work or my blogs or anything that I create is listening to trance and drum and bass. It brings my soul alive. It pulls me into alignment. I love it, right? Now, what's really interesting is that I've just never jived with heavy metal music, and that's fine. You know, like a lot of my party friends for some reason and my exes loved the raw music, and I was like, it's okay, you can go to that thing, I'll just stay home and do whatever, it's all good. Like, I just don't jive with it, right? But again, I love the trance, drum and bass and stuff, right? Now, the thing with music, guys, is that it has to bring your soul alive. Like, there's some music that you guys are like, I don't like that music. I don't like this. I don't like that, you know? And it's like, that's all perfect, yeah? It's super all perfect. Because what's so important is to do what brings your soul alive, whether that's raw music, whether that's Mozart, whether that's something else like country music or something, I don't know. Like, if it brings your heart and soul alive, you must allow yourself to listen to that, right? So it's a big part of, you know, helping my client remember who she is, or she was uncovering it herself, which is what happens, right? So the biggest thing that I was sharing, okay, is because I also remember hearing Justin talk back in 2018, and he loves heavy metal music too. I think it's that heavy metal raw music. It's a, you know, and people say it's a low vibration. And when you look at this, it's like, oh yeah, that's a low vibration and this is a high vibration. Why? Because we have a perception that these crystals are more beautiful than these crystals, don't we? We have a perception that this is more beautiful than this. Okay? So Danielle says, it feels like it attracts negative entities. Yeah, it's interesting about that. It's interesting, right? Because for someone like me, I just don't jive with it. But someone who doesn't like my music would also say that it attracts negative entities because they just don't like it, right? But for that person who has, like, you know, like my client has a beautiful high vibrational soul, is so highly intuitive, and is like one of the best healers I've come across. And she loves that. And I'm like, and so Justin, who I'm talking about, is the creator of the liquid crystals. And you probably heard me talk about that over and over and over again, right? And that's amazing and huge through the world. And and they're so powerful healing tools and remedies. Like, they're the most powerful vibrational essence I've ever come across. And I stopped using bush flowers when I came across them because of that. And it wasn't until not long ago that I learned that he listens to this propelling up to channel to create what he does. And I was like, well, that makes sense because they're using that as like a propelling thing in a way. I don't know how to describe it, right? But what the most resonating thing was, I was like, yeah, I write my blogs. If I'm sitting down to write something, I have my music in my ears. That is the trance. That is the drum and bass. Like, that's what's in my ears, right? And you know, like, okay, so heavy metal is very dark. Okay, well, what about hip hop? What about all that stuff? Like, everything has a certain vibration, okay? Now it's interesting, okay? So the thing here, all right? So when you say, Alison, my father loved it and he was always violent and mentally ill. Yeah, and so there's a lot of people that love it that are not violent and they're not mentally ill. So the people that I used to party with, for example, they have the biggest hearts. They are the most kindest, gentlest souls, and they love the raw music, right? So I just really I'm pointing this out because it's all perception based, okay? So here I am getting to the real turning point that's gonna blow this out of the water, okay? What I realized talking to my client about this is it is not whether the music is low vibrational or high vibrational. Because what's so important is that it brings your soul alive. It brings your soul alive. Because there's a perception that heavy metal music looks like this. There's a perception that Mozart looks like this. There's a perception that love and gratitude looks like this. There's a perception that you make me sick looks like this. Now you might be like, but Hannah, he did these scientific studies and look at it. It's proof, Hannah. It's proof. What I'm about to say is going to blow it out the water. What if I love you and I hate you created this because we already had a perception that they were good and bad? We just came out of the full moon ceremony and we're talking about the December 21st coming up that everybody's talking about. And there's all this like prophecies that I just learned in the full moon ceremony. I've been a little bit off grid I'm doing so much behind the scenes. It's coming. But anyway, the point is that this December 21st coming up is like a 700-800-year-old prophecy about the Holy Grail. But it stems from that long ago when duality consciousness was created, so to speak. And movements and religions were good, bad, right, wrong, hell, heaven. What if his perceptions were affecting the truth about this? Because in truth, everything is neutral. Everything is neutral. Anything only changes when we give it power. Is that huge? It was like such a like blowing my mind out of the water. I'm like, why haven't I realized that before now? Like, it's big, right? Now, some of you might not get that. But if Dr. Emoto, this amazing man, Dr. Emoto, didn't necessarily jive with heavy metal music his whole life, it's probably going to feel like that to him. And Dr. Emoto, he looks like the sort of person that would love Mozart. Don't you think? It's kind of interesting. So when we really see that if, yes, our thoughts affect things, but it's our perceived judgment about something that creates it the way that it is. And that's why people don't like it when we tap into truth, because it shatters their view of what reality is to them, of what is right to them. Because I guarantee you, those people who love heavy metal music and raw music, it wouldn't look like that to them. Why? Because they love it. Right? And so you say he put his energy into his experiments. Yeah, and so did all the people. Like, usually, like, there's, you know, people are going to have a bit of a perception about heavy metal music unless you love it, unless you're the one doing the study. I'm like, well, this is like blowing my mind. I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Right? All right, let me just check these comments. Hang on. Okay. So, okay. So Tracy says, I love hard rock, heavy metal, and I'm a healer, psychic medium, kindest person, always helping people, feeling sorry for people, and even crying with people. And this is the thing, guys, right? This is where nothing has power outside of ourselves, only the perception of judgment that we give it, that usually we have learned from society growing up until this day we are today. Yeah? So if you really want to take your spiritual growth to the next level, question everything. Know that you have the power to change your reality in any way, shape, which or form, because everything you have learnt to date has only come from someone else's mouth, from someone else's book, from someone else's whatever, teaching you about reality. So when you're stuck in a way and you're like, no, this is the way, how about we just take that perceptional judgment off that thing, because everything is neutral. We have the power to affect any which way it goes, depending on how we feel about it. It's not the thing. It's how we feel about the thing. Yeah? And our perception of the feeling of the thing. It's going deep here. Are you with me? Our perception of the feeling of the thing. So the thing is out here, right? Can't see it. The thing, the AirPods is out here. People are like, it's bad Bluetooth, it affects your brain. I'm like, does it? Sometimes I feel my ears burning because I've had them in too long. But I don't see it as bad, I don't feel it as bad, because that's a perception, that's a judgment of the thing. And my judging my feelings for wearing the damn thing, that's gonna be worse because the thing is neutral. It's my feelings that give it all the power and all the energy. So if you want to manifest something, don't be judging what's good, bad, right, or wrong. Just stay in the love of it. This is where they say, follow your heart and follow your bliss. People get caught up on the judgments of the feelings of the things. It's big, right? So Leanne says, it's his perception that is all the experiments could give him. Exactly. So Emma says, that's like quantum physics. Our perception creates reality. Yes, very interesting. So Alison said he put his energy into his experiments. Yes. And our energy goes into everything. It's huge. Ricky says, I think the heavy metal one looks like rings of a tree and it's beautiful. I know. That is what the inside of a tree looks like, isn't it? And maybe I'm incorrect, but I think the inside of our bone, or maybe it's not round. Because is it a carrot that when you cut it, oh no, carrot's the eyes and you cut it and it looks like an eye. What's the one that looks like a bone? Oh, the celery. Oh, is the celery like a bone? But it's not like this. I'm picking up bones. I'm picking up bones. But it does look like a tree. You're exactly right. And do you know what it also looks like to me? It looks like the ripple effect in a pond. And we all know that that's a good thing. Well, a ripple effect in a pond is neither a good or bad thing, because it could be a bad ripple effect depending on how we're feeling about the thing, right? Do you see how like we can get tripped up in this? Like, this is what it is. full on, yeah? Our energy and intention creates the reality. Yeah. The heavy metal looks like a planet. I know. See how our perception is changing the energy of it already? Doesn't feel as bad now, does it? Right? And even, let's have a look at this one then. Where is it? You make me sick. What does that one look like? It is interesting that they're very different. Very different. Love and gratitude. Maybe it is a higher and a lower vibration, but what does that look like? Seen as though what do we see in there? We're changing the perception of it. And this is interesting because that means we're changing the perception of what words mean. You know how they talk about spells and curses? This is just a series of words. What do they teach us in school? Oh, certain words. Oh, why? To trap us in a certain reality. Huge, right? And he says, you're so right. Tracy says, I like some Mozart too. I love Mozart too. Love it. Changes the whole frequency of my house. Be true to yourself. Sonia says, so if you love to hate and you put the perception of love into the hate water and the rice, then the rice will be perfectly and beautifully fermented because you love to hate? I personally feel that it's like you love it. Like it wouldn't, I mean, maybe it would look like that. I don't know. But his perception makes it a bad, negative, low vibration because it's bad, right? Duality consciousness is good, bad, right or wrong. Yeah. You're right, I'm wrong, good, bad, right or wrong stuff. Separation consciousness. Now, maybe if we loved heavy metal music, it might look different. And would it shift that? Yeah, maybe it would shift that, right? But if we actually step back, and this is interesting, this was in the full moon ceremony too, it was like, oh no, we're just doing it then. So interesting, there's like 3 dimensions of reality here. Oh, did you guys just get that? We're in 3-dimensional 3D reality. We want to shift to 5D reality. So we stop thinking in 3D perception. So our perceiving of the feelings of the thing, 1, 2, 3. 3rd-dimensional consciousness is a separation and a perceived judgment of the feelings of the thing. Whew. So if we change what we're perceiving of our feeling, right? Because we'll be feeling something and we're like, you know, upset and angry. And we're like, oh, I shouldn't be upset and angry because it's so bad. It's like, who said it was bad to be upset and angry? Like we're judging, we're feeling upset and angry, and then we're perceiving that feeling. And I'm saying because we feel in our heart and our head is where we perceive from. So we're perceiving that feeling of being angry and upset as bad. Well, who told you it was bad? Where did that mind thought come from? What? Because when you were a kid, you weren't allowed to cry and you got belted if you did. And so then it's bad because if I'm bad and if I cry, you know, that's wrong and I'm going to get in trouble. So I won't do that anymore. And that causes all sorts of problems. So I'm not even going there. But it's like, so when you say like, because you love to hate, so I feel like it's like the perception of the word. So hate has a negative connotation to it, right? Because apparently hate is similar to this, like it looks like this, wherever it is, right? It's similar to that. I hate you, or you fool, or whatever it was, yeah? So it's got a negative connotation. By whose judgment? Where did that come from? Do you know what I mean? And this is where society, it goes back a long way. And they indoctrinate us in schools. Like, I don't know, did schools only come in not long ago? I don't know, it's so interesting to see when that started. Does that make sense? Alison said, looks like a portal or the universe. Yeah, isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? So Leanne said, isn't that what he saw though? Could it be that another person would see a different perspective? Were they doing the experiment? Exactly. Exactly. This is the thing, right? Is it that this is the truth? Or was that his perception? Because, you know, I don't know. How old would he be? He's had a bit of a lifetime before he started doing these experiments, right? So he's got a bit of perception about, you know, I like Mozart or I don't like heavy metal music. Someone who did these experiments who loves heavy metal music, would it actually look like this? I'd have to do some new experiments, hey? Oh, so Sonia says, I don't love to hate, by the way. Just an interesting thought. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's the, whoops, watch out, mate. I feel like it's the perception of the word. Yeah, it's the perception of the word, and the perception is what keeps us in that energy of it. Like, the perception is the energy, not the word. Do you know what I mean? It's so interesting. But then my mind just went to, but doesn't A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the whole alphabet, doesn't that have a synchronistic sound? Oh my gosh, we're going deep into the creation of reality here. Are we ready? So I don't know if this is true. Like, doesn't A, B, C, D, the whole alphabet, have a sound vibration connected to a certain frequency that is like pulling all this together? I did a live stream about 2 years ago called Releasing the Curse of Humanity. And it was all about releasing the words that we have learned in school for all these years, because it creates and locks in a certain frequency. So start changing your words, change your frequency, but start changing your perception of the words or your perception of how it makes you feel, right? And then watch your reality shift. So it's like deeper manifesting. It's like, you know, surface work of like, oh, think happy thoughts. And then it's like, actually, am I judging that? So then there's another layer of manifesting, and then there's another layer of manifesting. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yes. It's all vibrations. Energy creates vibrations and carries through everything. Yeah, exactly. The sound. There we go. You're picking it up. We're already there. So it's leading somewhere. So then if we really wanted to shift the frequency of our earth, and if we really wanted to shift the frequency of our life, if we really wanted to shift dimensional frequency, how do we tune into different sounds? How do we create different sounds in this reality now that pulls in a whole new different like structure of the universe? I think I'm covered in goosebumps when I do that. I'm just like, I think we just found the answer to shifting to another dimension, but on this planet or something. I don't know. I don't know that bit. So interesting, right? So Danielle says, our emotions are so helpful. They tell us something is wrong, or are we in alignment? Yeah, if we're not covered in trauma, if the trauma underneath is not running the show. Yeah? So important, right? And this is where I was talking about, because when you say our emotions are so helpful, they tell us if something is wrong or if we're in alignment. Yeah. Is it trauma speaking? And, you know, is it trauma sitting here? And that's what we're perceiving reality from, the trauma feeling and emotion. Yeah. Because an emotion is an old feeling in your body. A feeling, on the other hand, is a current clairsentient intuitive feeling. And this is where it comes into how to tell the difference. Is it a trauma from way back that is so ingrained in my reality because this is all I know about my reality, because this is what it is to me, right? Is that what that trauma has created in your reality, and that's what you're perceiving reality from? And so to unpick that, is this judgment? Like, is this, what am I perceiving this from? Like, do you know what I mean? It's deep, right? So the feeling, on the other hand, is your clairsentience, is your intuition, is your heart, yeah? But is that, you know, like the distinction between the trauma response or the clear feeling, which is what clairsentience is, clear feeling, yeah? So Sarah says, 2020 is the year of absolutely everything you thought was falling away. Nothing is real, it just is, yeah. It's not that it's not real, well, people would like to beg to differ, right? But it's what we perceive reality to be is where the power comes in. So, and this is where the structures of reality are disintegrating 100%. Yeah, 100%. So Ricky says, I'm getting right into working with crystal singing bowls. They are amazing. Yeah, amazing. Leanne says, maybe that's why light language is becoming a big thing. We can't mentally interpret it. Yeah, and it's coming from a whole different vibration of sound. Like, it's a completely different sound to what we are used to in all of society being indoctrinated for how long? Yeah, big time, definitely. So that makes total sense, right? Definitely, that is awesome. All right, guys, that's what I wanted to say. The perception of what we have made reality to be. Yeah, amazing, right? Amazing. So if you're stuck, ask yourself, how am I actually perceiving this? Is my perception of this current situation trapping me into this dogma? You could say, right? Kristen says, so basically you can be screwed up and still vibe high, 100%. And this is where it blows all the like, I've got a trauma and there's something wrong with me and I need to figure out what it is because, you know, I'm so low vibrational and wrong and bad. And where does that stem from? No, right? You can still vibe high. Why? Because you can start to love yourself now and love your imperfections and your something wrong with me. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Your perception that something is wrong has come from, where's that come from? This big, right? You can definitely vibe high. Why? Because it's a choice to choose how you feel about something. You're perceiving how you're feeling about something. It's not even like, where did that come from? Remember, this always comes from something we've learned from our lifetime on this planet. And everything on this planet has come from somebody's head or some form of their body, creating something in the world. The only truth is what lays here. Yeah. You're so welcome, Emma. Trust Intuition's in its final days, guys, and I've got so much stuff coming. I know I've been super quiet on the public front, but I've been big time in with clients, many distance healings. This end of year schedule is full. It is full. Group live streams in my private groups, and I'm also working on so much stuff about to be released in the coming weeks. So keep your eyes out, and there will be a public live stream, new moon, total solar, I think it's solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse, I'm pretty sure it's lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse, new moon on the 14th, I think it's 14th or 13th of December. That'll be public, so we'll be doing big ceremony style thing like this, but it will be public on the new moon. So if you're wanting to join that, keep your eyes peeled. It'll be public, it'll be free. You can get a taste of what this is all about. So I shall see you guys real soon. I haven't forgotten about you, and I'm coming soon. Love ya. Mwah.